keynote session for the day with the theme of the roadmap for the telecom infrastructure for the National Digital Communication Policy. Let me first invite our moderator for this session, Mr. Neeraj Roy. He's the Managing Director from Hungama. And now let me introduce our special guest, Honorable Chairman, Mr. P.D. Vaghela from Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. Over to you, Mr. Roy.
Thank you very much. Good morning, friends. On behalf of the IMAI, we welcome you to the all-virtual edition of the 15th India Digital Summit 2021. The last year started off with the worst pandemic in over a century that shook up economies and was a wake-up call for humanity. However, within a matter of few months, we realized that mankind witnessed a certain kind of ray of hope, a hope which was ahead of any vaccine, and that what I best described as a digital kavach or a shield of resilience. From the very eerie times of March and April, amongst the entire digital acceleration that we have witnessed over the next 2 quarters, we've seen between 2 to 10 years across industry. And the Indian telecom industry, despite having been through some of the most difficult and challenging times in the last decade, stood up to this and provided stable connectivity, during these times. And it was really a sort of first pillar of hope alongside our healthcare and frontline workers. From seeing our children embrace online education to banking on our mobile, telemedicine and e-commerce, all thrived and paved the way for a new and robust India, standing tall to any challenge. One institution that has in many ways over the last 2.5 decades been a facilitator of this ecosystem is the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI. We are delighted to welcome to the 15th edition of IAMAI's India Digital Summit, Shri P.D. Vaghela ji. Shri Vaghela has been a part of the Indian Administrative Service, batch of 1986, and has had a stellar record as an able administrator across sectors and industries. He takes the reins of the TRAI at a time when the Indian telecom sector constitutes 4 companies, and whilst enabling the digital backbone for a digital India, it is also thrust upon the added responsibility to deliver to the Prime Minister's Atmanirbhar Bharat, or a self-reliant India. Next year, we will be witnessing India's 75th year of independence, and also the start of rollout services across 5G across India. With the vision and desire to implement the goals of the National Digital Communication Policy, which connecting India, propelling India, and securing India, please give a warm virtual welcome to Shri P.D. Vaghela for his keynote session, The Roadmap for Telecom Infrastructure for the National Digital Communication Policy. Welcome, sir, and over to you, Mr. Vaghela.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, and Dr. Subra Ray, President, Internet and Mobile Association of India, other dignitaries, and all the friends who have joined this summit. In the beginning, I would like to thank IAMAI for inviting me to the India Digital Summit. Congratulations to all of you for organizing the very apt and timely deliberations on Atmanirbhar Bharat in the space of digital connectivity and services. I have gone through the subjects which have been chosen very carefully, and I would appreciate if the organization can send me the literature after the summit is over. So, TRAI will be benefited from the deliberation which have taken place for the next 2 days. So, I would speak on the issue of how to make India Atmanirbhar. See, today in the terms of digital connectivity, we have the second largest telecom market in the world. India's telecom sector is not only one of the largest, but among the fastest growing also. Approximately 800 million internet subscribers in the country can access digital services in that age. Further, every year we sell approximately 300 mobile devices in the India market. The demand for internet connectivity and smartphone is increasing continuously. For further enhancing digital connectivity, we have already embarked on one of the world's largest rural optic fiber rollout program in the world, aiming to connect 6 lakhs villages to internet through flagship initiative called BharatNet. And you know that BharatNet, they have issued an expression of interest recently, inviting private participation in order to commercialize this network. Even though the growth of internet subscriber and data traffic has been unprecedented during the last few years, significant percentage of population remains unconnected, and that is an opportunity for all of us. Some of them are not connected due to coverage gap, but many of them are within the footprint of a broadband network, but still not using internet services. From consumer point of view, what I can find is in low and in middle income groups, issue may be with regard to affordability, low levels of literacy and digital skill, a perceived lack of relevance, and safety and security concerns. These are the most important barriers for internet use. Many times, if we are specific to the consumers like farmers, workers, artisans, and if we can find out applications which are relevant for them, then that digital inclusion can become very fast, and that can further increase in that can further help in growth of the sector. And addressing this barrier is critical to further increase internet usage. We also need to invest in the digital communication infrastructure to increase the coverage and quality of internet access. Especially when we are talking about 5G, this is very, very important. Sincere efforts are required by all stakeholders in this regard. This will pave the way for digital India. The digital transformation is emerging as a key driver of sweeping changes happening in the world around us. I saw the subject, one of the subject is about disruption, and that is a very, very important aspect we need to study. The convergence of digital and physical products through M2M and IoT services and application and advent of 5G is paving the way for fourth industry revolution, is popularly known as Industry 4.0. And for benefit, reaping the benefits of Industry 4.0, the availability of ubiquitous digital communication infrastructure and services is very, very important. Naturally, ecosystem for 5G also is very important. Low cost processing, high density data storage in form of hyperscale, as well as edge data centers, and increasingly connected population of active users of digital technologies. These are the prerequisites for reaping the benefits of Industry 4.0. To overcome the physical infrastructure constraints and take advantage of fourth industry revolution, we need to immediately work upon to meet these prerequisites. The rise of digital economy is one of the defining features of the 21st century. In the new order, every country is facing unprecedented opportunities and challenges which are fundamentally different from the previous industrial revolution. Entire industries are being disrupted and transformed. New platforms of collaborations and competition across the public and private sectors are presenting urgent imperatives for the government and the stakeholders to innovate and to rethink policies. Digital technologies are affecting societies and economies in many ways via new means of communication and collaboration, new services and products, cloud, AI, ML, and digital platforms. Consumption of data, both in terms of speed and scale, has become a key driver of economic growth. Digital technologies now provide opportunity for inclusive and sustainable economic growth, which I told earlier that we need to come out with applications which are relevant and relevant for the farmers, workers, artisans, women in all the sectors of the economy. Millions of Indians are adopting to digital payments, mobile banking, social networking, other digital technologies and services. Fintech industries are accelerating financial inclusion, and new age technology like artificial intelligence or machine learning will further push digital adoption in the country. Fourth industry revolution, which largely depend upon the uses of digital communication technologies and data analytics, will improve industrial productivity and make Indian manufacturing sector more competitive. There is no other way. We have to go for industry 4.0. Otherwise, and then for that, advent of 5G and creating an ecosystem for the 5G is very, very important. This will pave the way for self-reliant India in other sectors of the economy also. The National Digital Communication Policy 2018 has indeed reflected all these priorities by setting ambitious goals for 2020, such as provisioning of broadband for all. It's a very big, ambitious target, creating 4 million additional jobs in the digital communication sector, enhancing the contribution of the digital communication sector to 8% of the India's GDP from the present 6.5, propelling India to the top 50 nations in ICT Development Index of ITU. And last but not least, the policy and also lays down a clear vision to attract investments and create jobs in the sector that will enable its three-pronged mission: connect India, propel India, and secure India, leading to a better quality of life for India's citizens. In the recent past, due to ongoing pandemic, the relevance of use of highways has increased tremendously in comparison to physical infrastructure such as rail, road, and air transport network and commercial buildings. Like clean water and electricity, broadband access has become a modern day necessity. Digital connectivity and services are truly the hidden hero of this unprecedented global crisis. I would congratulate and thank all the stakeholders for providing these services in difficult times. The stakeholders of this digital communication services sector have successfully delivered on this front. Again, I would like to congratulate all of you for this. Post-pandemic era may see a change in the way we live, work, and interact. We may have formed some good habits so as to live in a world which facilitates socializing and economic growth with less human contact. For this, it is essential that benefits of digital services reach the population of urban as well as the rural areas. The ubiquitous digital connectivity would help in delivering most social services to the bottom of pyramid in cost-effective manner in rural and remote areas. This will help us in overcoming the deficit of physical infrastructure in the country. Access to secure data connectivity at affordable prices to every person, enterprise, and industry would transform the knowledge economy of the country. Further, the pandemic has forced world leaders to think differently, and the risk associated with concentration of supply chains in few geographies have attracted attention of the world leaders, including India. The disruptions of the supply chains. I was Secretary Pharmaceutical, and I was really, worried about the disruptions of the APIs which are coming from some of the countries. The disruption in the supply chains due to pandemic have forced industry also to think of developing indigenous capabilities. In this evolving situation, for achieving inclusive socio-economic growth in the country, the government has given the clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. The timing is also appropriate for Atmanirbhar Bharat as the existing global supply chains are getting disrupted and new opportunities are emerging. In the field of telecommunication, developments related to Open RAN and software-defined networks are opening new opportunity for Indian entities to enter in the network equipment market. However, successfully competing in this space, we must think through end-to-end solutions and to improve our capacity and productivity. We need to invest in capacity building for future needs and manufacturing facilities. Investment in design, research, and development of latest products and services should be another focus area. Another focus area is that India needs to take more part in developing standards in the ITUs. We will require to work on how to increase the pace of convergence of governance, that is laws, policies, and regulations, so as to take maximum benefit of inevitable convergence of technologies. We will require to further prepare ourselves for the introduction of 5G and strengthen our ecosystem to reap full benefits of 5G. If you ask my suggestions, I'm new to this job, but to begin with and to make some speedy progress and to make self-reliant India, in my view, we need to take some of the steps which I said. First, we need to increase investment in research and development. This is very, very important. Today, we are technology consumer. To be self-reliant in the technology space, which is critical from economic and strategical perspective also, we need to transform from consumer to producer of technology. To upgrade and expand the technology development capabilities, we need to make investments in complete ecosystem, which includes research, innovation, standardization, product development, testing, and certification. This requires complete overhaul of the existing practices and policies. We need to establish industry-academia linkages. The commercial research, innovation, standardization, and product development need to be incentivized. Such innovation can also focus on meeting developing countries' requirement in the cost-effective manner. This will open vast market for such products for India. TRAI has already given its recommendation to the government for becoming self-reliant in these areas. The developments relating to software-defined networks and Open RAN provide opportunity for Indian entities to enter this space. We can leverage India's IT industry capability to build, operate, and maintain the software products which can serve Indian as well as global telecom industry at a reasonable price. We all know that the maximum value addition is in the technology development, designing of products, and servicing over the life cycle. Keeping in view India's strength in these areas, global companies have already started to establish their R&D centers in India. India has potential to be a global leader in telecom software development and servicing space. Government and regulator can play a major role in encouraging digital innovation and incentivizing the development of digital technology for the benefit of society. We need to have a time-bound and transparent process in place for any kind of permissions if required. One example of such permission could be the requirement of spectrum for development of wireless technologies and products. Secondly, there is a need to boost telecom production in India. With the growth of mobile and fixed line broadband, the demand for mobile devices and consumer premises equipments would increase in times to come. Industry 4.0 and digital automation would require use of IoT and M2M technologies, which again requires a lot of sensors and embedded telectronic equipments. It will also require fiberization and densification of the wireless networks. The decision of the government to encourage indigenous telecom product companies in setting up the 4G network for BSNL will provide the immediate opportunity to such companies. So in a sense, we have unlimited market opportunity to service. India has launched a series of factor market reforms in the last years that form the foundation for enhancing India's appeal as a manufacturing base. Given the skill base in India, that include telecommunication also, the scale of domestic market and technology orientation, India presents an attractive option for global manufacturers. Government is also encouraging investment through relaxed FDI forms and PLI policies. India has a progressive liberal FDI regime with 100% FDI allowed under automatic route in most sectors. India has become one of the most attractive destinations for foreign investment over the last few years. Recently, government has approved nearly 12,200 crore rupees production-linked incentive scheme guidelines for large-scale telecom equipment manufacturing. This scheme will surely fuel the overall manufacturing ecosystem in India for telecom and networking products, components, as well as technology products, and attract large investment in telecom market. It is also expected that global companies will move their manufacturing large parts of their supply chain to India, and local companies will serve not just India but also export their products. Further, it would boost the local network gear manufacturing industry, attract component sector and industry for exports, and create jobs while helping build a robust ecosystem. Third point which comes to my mind is the area which will require increased attention is hyperscale data centers. Data park. To become a self-reliant in the digital space, the role of data centers attain an equal importance. We are largest consumer of the data in the world and largest generator of data also. For managing this voluminous data and using the same for digital economy, substantial investment is required in the data center parks and data centers. The legislation of the data protection law will pave for the development of international data center in the country, as it will provide legal certainty and reduce the country risk. Therefore, this should be another focus area, especially when one more subsector within the economy, digital economy, is being created, that is monetization of data. We are already working on this to develop industry-friendly framework. Last but not least, the point is boosting investment in the telecommunication network infrastructure. Ultimately, the use of technology for benefit of other sectors of economy and general public greatly depends on the availability of high-speed, reliable, and ubiquitous telecommunication network. This calls for fiberization of the network, as presently we are largely depending on microwave backhaul connectivity. In comparison to other major economies, we have least amount of optical fiber available in the network. This also becomes very, very important if we think of introducing 5G in the country. Approximately 30% cell sites are only connected over fibers, against target of 60% as set out in the National Digital Communication Policy 2018. This requires huge amount of investment and provide opportunity to new entities to enter into this space. In the end, I would say that while India has taken a major leap in the digital space during the last 6-7 years, a lot is required to be achieved, and we all have to work together. This is one area where we can become self-reliant very fast if we, government, industry, and academia, come together, deliberate, and then come out with solutions to the to the some of the challenges which we are facing. Again, I thank everyone for inviting me and allowing me to express my opinion on a subject which is very, very exciting and very, very interesting. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Mr. for that very, very concise yet very articulate layout of how you see India's telecom infrastructure essentially empowering and enabling the broader Atmanirbhar objective which the Prime Minister has laid out for our nation. Sir, I'd like to, you really, in this limited time, you covered almost all the areas from core infrastructure to opportunities linked to device as we transition from 4G to 5G, to the entire sort of, backhaul and fiberization, and the quantum of investments that would be required to facilitate this. My first question to you is, in this ecosystem, you mentioned that the Indian telecom industry played a very vital role during this period, and you even complimented them for standing up and providing the infrastructure which facilitated education for our children, facilitated banking, facilitated commerce and e-governance. If you look back, what would be the 2-3 key things that you would want them to be sort of adhering to over the next 12 to 18 months as we attempt to the 2022 landmark of 75 years? What would you say, sir? Sir, you're on mute.
Thank you for asking this question. Very relevant also. See, as I can see it, I have already covered in my address. But again, I would reiterate that for India, there is no other way than to digitize the economy as soon as possible. For this, 3 things are required. One, we need to improve upon our telecom infrastructure, and that includes fiberization. But again, fiberization, there are challenges. One is right of way. Second is in-building solution. Third is, street furniture. These are the 3 things which are going to be very, very important. Telecom companies and other investors, they are ready. IP, also, they are also infrastructure provider also. But, they would require, user-friendly policies in this regard. This is one thing. Already some rules are there, but we are working on this, and we have to work with the states and local bodies. So to see that, these permissions are given in time. That is one thing. Second thing is, I think, we need to work on the, developing use cases which are relevant for India. And I would further emphasize, for me, digital inclusion is very, very important. Especially those, those stakeholders who are very, very important for the economy and who are contributing to the economy in a very, very significant manner. So I would again, repeat, the farmers, workers, artisans, women, working women, and and the students. These are the people. For them, if we want to bring them into the mainstream of the economy, we would require to develop use cases which are relevant for them and which help them to reap the benefits of the growth of the economy. And they are able to realize the value of their products. So this is, the second point I would say. And third is again, I would say that we need to, we need to further strengthen our research and development efforts. And here, the 3-4 things I would like to say. One is, our industry academia linkage we need to strengthen. That how to, incentivize the researchers, the academicians, professors, and students if they come out with new solutions. This is one thing. Second, we need to also understand how to incentivize people who are doing research. Those who are actually doing research, and how to help them to convert their products into a commercial product, production. This is second thing. And third, which is again, I think, should have come in the beginning. I should have spoken about an ecosystem for research and development, the various permissions, and then, the kind of money they will require, financing. These are very, very important aspects. So, we are going to work on this. We already started working on that, and we would like to see how we can learn from the experience of the other countries who has done great in research and development. So these are the three aspects I would say very important.
Sure, sir. No, sir, just as a follow-up, in fact, I think the case you make for new use cases to bring in greater amount of digital inclusion, I think, enough cannot be said about the importance of this. We witnessed, say, in the last 2-3 years, one was a trigger by way of enabling cheaper devices and cheaper connectivity. Already, India is, by far one of the lowest priced market as far as connectivity is concerned. In the last 3-4 years, from 1 GB of consumption, we've grown on an average to almost 16-17 GB. And an average customer today has access to 30 GB of data. So from a data starved to a data abundant market. And I think that's remarkable that this transformation has happened in the last 3-4 years. I believe the other area that they are looking at is really to get into vernacular, because we have to reach out to our markets and our citizens in the language that is comforting them. And I believe in this area, sir, perhaps voice is going to be the next sort of enabler. So just as we had touch as in screens, hopefully voice brings in another 300-400 million consumers to whom use cases become most relevant into their daily lives. And I think, on this, I'd like to just share a little anecdote, sir. The early part of this lockdown, a friend of mine, his father is 77, and Mr. Joke, when he was growing up, he had this peculiar thing that he would only sign checks to make any payments. And उनके साथ होता ये था वो सैटरडे को चेक्स करते थे. तो 4-5 हफ्ते हो गए लॉकडाउन को, and Sharma ji was not able to sign checks. So his son said to him, he said ki, bhai, Papa, I'll get you to mobile banking. And he was little hesitant, but 7-8th week had gone by. Then very reluctantly, he sort of took to it. By the 10th week, sir, my friend was telling me, bhai, Neeraj, we've created a little bit of a monster. So I said, why? What happened? He said, galti se if in the middle of a meal, we say, acha, wo bill aaya tha, uska payment hua ki nahi? My father, almost like a gunslinging cowboy, he jumps out. He said, "Main pay karu." Now that's digital acceleration at its best, and I think there is so much that can be done here. So my last, I know we are short of time now. Last question really is once again to reiterate, the call for Atmanirbhar. You talked about fiberization. You talked about manufacturing. I think give the audience a sense of the size of this opportunity, sir. That if many in this attendance are made up of the best and finest startups, which are part of the Internet and Mobile Association, what would be your call for them to take to, apart from enabling software, but to also look at the hardware side as an opportunity? Because we are importing a lot of that. And if we are able to provide that, there is a massive opportunity to even build and export into newer markets with which India has got, great economic relationships.
Yeah. So nobody you brilliantly, brought out that subject of, again, I'm really like that subject is that is of, use cases, and you told contextualizing that in India's condition. and one is converting that into vernacular. Another thing which I liked, which you mentioned, is about using voice. See, many of the very important informal economy which we tell, they are not very literate and they are not technology savvy. So how to use pictorial and voice audio presentation to take to them to the market, and a market from the point of view of inputs as well as for selling their products. It's very, very important. Just imagine if this informal economy joins our this digital this thing bandwagon, the kind of opportunity which it will create in form of IoT and in form of M2M, in form of the even the telecom, the form of bandwidth, the kind of revenue they will be getting. It is a market which is untapped. It's true that we have reached to them, but we have reached to them in form of voice and some data, and but it's more entertainment kind of a thing. Let me tell you. But converting this opportunity into bringing them into the economy, and then helping them in spurt of the growth of the economy is very, very important. This is one aspect I would say. And opportunities you are talking about, this naturally, the new policy, PLI, it is going to give a great opportunity, and it is only for certain industry, but the kind of boost it will give to the ancillary industry, will be a great thing. Ancillary industries will be benefited a lot. Use cases, I think sky is the limit for the entrepreneurs, the students, and the youth. They can come out with very innovative and creative solutions which are required for the various stakeholders. And let me tell you, even for the smallest kind of entrepreneur, there will be an opportunity. The only thing is that we need to associations like yours and other people, they need to start working on this, how to convert this this opportunity which will arise because of 5G into an opportunity. Naturally, for example, in Open RAN we are talking. RAN, it was very difficult for the Indian manufacturer to enter, but now Open RAN will give an opportunity for you to produce certain components of that system. Now this is an opportunity which has been opened, and we should only wholeheartedly welcome this. And for example, I think Jio, Reliance has already started talking about developing their own Open RAN. So that will again give a huge opportunity for Indian manufacturers.
Yes.
So fiberization, for example, the kind of opportunities that will be there. That is so. I'm not talking about information broadcasting at all. Again, there, because see, whether we like it or not, I mentioned about that convergence of technologies is happening. It is a reality, is inevitable, and those who understand this fast, and they also understand disruption of technology because of that. Because of the convergence of technology, the disruption of the present product. And if we understand that, and then if we can have our own strategies to handle that disruption, I think sky is the limit for.
So you mentioned about 5G. From your perspective, when do you believe we should be ready for the enablement of the auction, and when would you ideally like 5G rollout to start happening for the broader citizens of the country?
I think government has already declared that they will be rolling out it very soon. And for that I think government will also be going for I think administrative allotment for 5G for research and development. And also already I think already a lot of work has been done in order to create an ecosystem for 4G that can help us in 5G. Of course, we will be further be required to strengthen that in ecosystem. How to go about that? Should we go at one go, or should we do it incremental? That will be a decision which all the investors will have to take. And as far as government is concerned, I think we'll be working more on creating an ecosystem which is user friendly. I told ROW, right of way, ABS, and street furniture. These are even power. power is very, very important. Giving permissions for the connectivity will require huge number of, powers and huge number of, equipment, which will require, assured 24/7 power supply. So, that is also there. I think Ministry of Power, the government is working on that. We will be further strengthening those things. So let us see what government will be coming out with we have already recommended auction of the 5G spectrum, just for your, I think everybody knows that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaghela. And on behalf of the 1,000 delegates who are currently logged in and the Internet and Mobile Association, TRAI has always been, one of our keynote speakers, and we thank you for your support and appreciate your message today, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roy.
Thank
I would
you.
also like to extend our special thanks to Mr. Vaghela for sparing his valuable time to be with us today. Another thanks to our diamond partner Google, platinum partners InMovie and Facebook, digital growth partner Microsoft, omni-channel partner Zendesk, customer experience partner Adobe, customer engagement partner Infobip. Please stay tuned for our other exciting discussions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, we will meet. Neeraj, I will call you one of these days. You have very good ideas. Thank you very much.
Zarur karunga, sir. All right, sir. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Can I switch off?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.